Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Arman Biazmi.
And my name is Mifzal bin Muhammad Nazril.
Today, we are going to explain about the effect of transition method
On the environmental chemistry. What is transition metals? Transition metals, occupying a prominent position in the periodic table, form a fascinating group of chemical elements. Their unique electronic configurations, diverse properties, and wide-ranging applications make them a subject of a great interest in inorganic chemistry. Transition metals are found in the D block of the periodic table, spanning from group 3 to 12. They are located between the alkaline earth metals, which is group 2, and the post-transition metals, which is group 13 to 16. The examples of transition metals is iron, known for its strength and high melting point; copper, celebrated for its excellent electrical conductivity; titanium, renowned for its exceptional strength to weight ratio; silver, and gold. The physical properties of transition metals. Transition metals possess several characteristic physical properties, which are high melting and boiling points. Transition metals generally have higher melting and boiling points compared to other elements due to their strong metallic bonding. Then, the density. They tend to have relatively high densities, which metals such as platinum and iridium being among the densest known element. Then is malleability and ductility. Transition metals can be hammered into thin sheets and can be drawn into wires. Transition metals also exhibit vibrant colors due to their ability to absorb and emit specific wavelength of the visible light region. The chemical properties of the transition metals. Transition metals display unique chemical properties due to their partially filled d orbitals. They have variable oxidation states. Transition metals can exist in multiple oxidation states, allowing them to form stable ions with different charges and participate in a wide range of chemical reactions. Transition metals also can form a complex. Their ability to form stable coordination complexes with ligands is a defining feature. These complexes have diverse structure and properties, finding application in catalysts, medicine, and material science. The metals also have catalytic activity. Many transition metals such as platinum, palladium, nickel exhibit excellent catalytic properties, making them crucial in various industrial processes, including petroleum refining and pharmaceutical synthesis. It also have magnetic properties. Such transition metals like iron and cobalt exhibit magnetic behavior due to their unpaired d electrons, which relate to the diamagnetic and paramagnetic mechanism. Soil fertility refers to the ability of soil to provide essential nutrients, water, and other favorable conditions necessary for plant growth and development. Fertile soil contains an optimal balance of nutrients, organic matter, and suitable soil structure that promotes healthy plant growth. It also includes adequate supply of essential macronutrients, which is transition metals that are necessary for plant growth. The benefit of transition metals at optimum level in soil. Transition metals act as enzyme cofactors. Transition metals serve as cofactors for many enzymes involved in critical plant processes. For an example, iron is an essential component of enzyme responsible for chlorophyll synthesis, while copper is required for enzymes involved in lignin formation and antioxidant defense. Next, photosynthesis and respiration. Transition metals such as iron, manganese, and copper are involved in the electron transport chains during photosynthesis and respiration. Next is nutrient transport and uptake. Transition metals play a role in the uptake and transport of other essential nutrients in plants. Transition metals such as zinc, copper, manganese are components of antioxidant enzymes. They protect plants from oxidative stress. Next is hormone synthesis and signaling. Transition metals participate in synthesis and activation of plant hormones. Next is structural support. Transition metals contribute to the formation and stability of plant cell walls. The harmful effects of transition metals in soils. Transition metals can be toxic at high level in soils. They can reduce nutrient uptake. For an example, excessive levels of certain transition metals such as copper, zinc, and nickel can interfere with the uptake of essential nutrients by plant. They can compete with other ions and blocking their absorption and causing nutrients deficiencies. Next is toxicity symptoms. Plants exposed to high concentration of transition metals may exhibit visible symptoms of toxicity, including leaf chlorosis. Next is oxidative stress. Transition metals, particularly those with multiple oxidation states such as iron and manganese, can participate in redox reaction within plants. This can lead to the production of reactive oxygen species, causing oxidative stress and damaging cell membranes, protein, and DNA. Next is disruption of enzyme activities. Transition metals can disrupt enzyme activities in plants. They may inhibit or activate specific enzymes, altering metabolic pathways and affecting essential physiological processes such as photosynthesis, respiration, and hormone regulation. It is also harmful for humans to consume these plants. First, humans can exhibit carcinogenic risk. Some transition metals such as arsenic and cadmium are classified as carcinogens. Regular intake of plants contaminated with these metals can increase the risk of developing various types of cancer. Next is digestive system disorder. Consumption of plants with high level of certain transition metals can cause gastrointestinal problems such as abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Next is developmental and neurological problems. Certain transition metals like lead and mercury are known to have neurotoxic effects. Prolonged exposure to these metals through contamination plants consumption can lead to developmental issues in children, including impaired cognitive function, learning disabilities, and behavioral problems. For those who are wondering, how did the transition metals end up in the soil? So this is the mechanism of the transition metals enrichment in soils. First, weathering and mineral breakdown. Over time, rocks and minerals in the soils undergo weathering, releasing trace amounts of transition metals. This process involves physical, chemical, and biological factors including temperature, moisture, microbial activities, and organic matter decomposition. Next is atmospheric deposition. Transition metals can be introduced to the soil through atmospheric deposition. Industrial emission, vehicle exhaust, and other human activities release trace metals into the atmosphere. which eventually settle onto the soil surface through precipitation, dry deposition, and more. This process can lead to enrichment of transition metals in soils, especially in areas with high level of pollution. Next is organic matter decomposition. Organic matter such as plant residues and animal manure contains varying plenty of amounts of transition metals. When organic matter decomposes, it releases this metal into the soil. Organic amendments such as compost and manure applications can contribute to the enrichment of transition metals in the soils. Next is fertilizer and amendments. Yes, fertilizer and soil amendments are common sources of transition metals in agricultural and gardening practices. Many commercial fertilizers, including the big company fertilizers, contains micronutrients, which is transition metals, to ensure plant health and productivity. These products are applied to the soil where the transition metals become available for plant uptake and can contribute to the enrichment of this metal in the soils.
Toxicity transition metal to aquatic life. Transition metal have a lot of disadvantage to the environment such as aquatic life. One of the most vital resource for the preservation of the environment, industrial productivity and human life is water. Due to the persistence of heavy metal in the environment, their biological toxicity, non-degradability and capacity to penetrate the food chain, heavy metal pollution has emerged as one of the most significant environmental issues. Heavy metal can build up in the bodies of aquatic species such as aquatic animal, aquatic plant, and aquatic microbes. Before we go through to the toxicity, let's get note about what is aquatic life. Aquatic life refers to the microorganisms and macroscopic plants and animals such as fish that inhabit water bodies. Aquatic life does not include human pathogens or insect pests, aquatic invasive species or other organisms which may be considered undesirable. What happens when an excess of metal enters freshwater ecosystem? When the pH in water falls, metal solubility increases and the metal particles become more mobile. That is why metals are more toxic in salt waters. Metal can become locked up in the bottom sediment, where they remain for many years. Streams coming from the mining areas are often very acidic and contain high concentration of dissolved metal with a little aquatic life. Both localized and dispersed metal pollution cause environmental damage because metals are non-biodegradable. Unlike some organic pesticides, metal cannot be broken down into less harmful components in the environment. Generally, the ionic form of a metal is more toxic because it can form toxic compound with other ion. Electron transfer reactions that are connected with oxygen can lead to the production of toxic oxyradical. Toxicity mechanism now known to be of considerable importance in both animal and plant. Some oxyradical, such as superoxide and ion, and the hydroxyradical can cause serious cellular damage. There is three impacts of toxicity transition metal to aquatic life. First, toxic effect of heavy metal on aquatic organisms. Second, the effect of toxicity of heavy metal on early biological development. And three, heavy metal affect gene mutation and variation. Okay, let's go to the first impact, toxic effect of heavy metal on aquatic organisms. There is three pathways exist for heavy metal in water to infiltrate aquatic life. Aquatic creatures first collect heavy metal ion from the water through their gill tissue before transporting them to different bodily tissues. Second, eating food contaminated with heavy metal causes aquatic creatures to absorb the metals into their system. Third, heavy metal enter aquatic animal bodies through subcutaneous absorption, and osmotic exchange, which in certain concentration range, several heavy metals that are ingested by aquatic species can stimulate their growth, metabolism, and enzyme activity. However, as exposure time increase and the accumulation effect of metal ion on aquatic animals become more pronounced, the number of toxicological effects on aquatic animal growth, physiology, biochemistry, gene expression, behavior, metabolism, and other processes are also produced. Additionally, there are different in the potential dangers that heavy metal provide to various aquatic animal species. Next, the effect of toxicity of heavy metal on early biological development. Fish are particularly vulnerable to the effect of heavy metal throughout their early embryonic and larval development phase. Following their entry into aquatic organism, larvae, heavy metal pollutants interact with the organism, nucleic acid, enzyme, vitamin, hormone, and other components to change their chemical structure and biological activity. This disruption of multiple systems, including the endocrine and central nervous system, cause a variety of illness and, occasionally, even death. Lastly, heavy metal affect gene mutation and variation. Uh, After entering the organism, heavy metal contaminants from the environment have a tendency to accumulate in a different organ. When their concentration exceeds a certain threshold or after prolonged exposure, this heavy metal damage the tissue, trigger the production of large amount of reactive oxygen species and electrophilic metabolite, then combine with DNA molecule. As a result, the cells are subjected to oxidative attack from the external environment, which leads to a variety of reactions of lipid in the organism, including peroxidation, change in genetic material, and other effects. In conclusion, transition metals play a crucial role in plant growth and development when present at optimal levels. They provide essential benefits such as enzyme activation and electron transport. However, it is important to maintain a balance, as excessively high level of transition metal in soil can have adverse effects on both plant health and human consumption, posing potential risks to the environment and human well-being. Lastly, when transition metals enter the natural water environment, they can only migrate and transform among various forms through adsorption, desorption, distillation, precipitation, and oxidation reduction, and finally stay in the water environment for a long time in one or more forms, resulting in permanent potential harm. With the change of environmental condition, the toxicity of some transition metal may be restrained or weakened. For example, the granular transition metal deposited in the sediment will be released into the water body when the redox potential change, resulting in secondary pollution.